Are we all over the hand wringing and the consternation and the clutching at pearls and the panic and the, oh my God, it's over. Elon and Trump aren't besties anymore. What are we going to do? It's the end of MAGA. And then all the Democrats were all jumping up and down about this thing. Oh my God, people, calm the F down. Honestly, I'm doing my best not to throw an F-bomb in this live stream, but it may happen because my God, is this ridiculous. I've got a different take on this. Not only is this going to be fine, people, is this all going to work out? I'll do you one better. I'll go a little further. Good. The fight is good, and nobody is saying that. History will tell you. Just a brief glance into American history. Go back to Abraham Lincoln and his team of rivals, people that fought like hell, but they all had one common goal: the best for the nation. That was the determining difference here. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson fought like they had public disputes like this. As bad as it was yesterday, the girly fight online on X, no, true, that got a little nasty, that's true, but still bitter rivals that took shots at each other's physical characteristics. It's happened before, it's going to happen again, and everything is going to work out, and it's all going to be for the better. Have we become such a pussy of a nation that we actually are in such turmoil over two political figureheads now fighting with each other that we're all worked up about it and we don't know what to do? Are we going to have two Christmases? Oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh my God, calm down. And like I said, not only is this going to work out, good, it's going to be for the better. Here's why I say that. Because the girly fight back and forth online between Trump and Elon has one common thread in it. And this is what everybody is forgetting, and I did too at first. These aren't two political ideologies fighting, and they're not two countries. These are two dudes that want the best for the country, and that's why this is going to work. That's why this is going to be fine. And to go through all of this, we got to kind of check out the timeline. Now, this is where you are fully licensed to make fun of me and call me an idiot and call me out when it doesn't work out. But it is going to work out, and I am going to be right. So call me out all you want. By the time you're listening to this on the replay or watching it later on or listening to it on the audio podcast, this may be hammered out already. Here's what's going to happen. This big, beautiful budget bill that Trump's been calling it, which, by the way, was one of his few labels that was bad. He never should have called it big because that's the first thing Elon picked on. Not only is this going to pass eventually with not enough cuts, trust me on this one when I tell you. Trust me. Trump has heard loud and clear the nation's calls for more budget cuts. Not now. They won't get everything they want right now, but he heard it, and he knows that that's what his base wants. I'll go so far as to say even the useless, lazy, selfish, self-centered, dumbass Republicans, the rhinos in Congress, they even heard it, and they never hear anything. It's always promises, we'll cut later on, we'll cut. They may actually do it this time, maybe, because this has been such a fight. How did that happen? Because all of us got involved. We're all aware of this story right now, and all of this is going to wind up being, again, this is my theme, good. By the time you're listening to this in the audio podcast, which, by the way, will be posted a little bit later on, it may have been worked out already, and there's already a rumor that this is going to work out. So we shall see. Now, to figure this all out, we got to go through a timeline, right? We got to go through the timeline and figure out how this all started. Now, we all know, and we talked about it. I talked about it last week and then into this week. It's been going on way too much, and the details of the budget bill and the boring crap and this and that. Well, Elon in the timeline has been, it kind of built up. The first thing we saw was about this time last week where he started to post things online saying like, well, I tried, and, talking about we can't spend ourselves into oblivion, and it's bad, and, and that escalated to the point where he started to talk about Trump directly and started to talk about him. What happened to the guy that was in favor of nobody in Congress getting a pay raise or being reelected if the budget isn't passed? And that eventually built up. Well, here's the moment, just to review, where it all went nuclear yesterday. And we're all aware of this now, but to put it in timeline sense and chronological order, it starts to make a lot more sense in your head, in mine anyway. Here's the moment where it all blew up and went nuclear.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here. better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem. And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars.
Okay. This started it, and as we all know by now, it got, way worse into a girly fight online. By the way, about the stuff online, I had the same reaction too. I'm like, oh God, this just seems so wimpy. They're fighting back and forth and sending out tweets and posts and this and that. But look at it this way. If this fight had happened 10 years before, this would have been in newspapers, right? They would have been still barking at each other through the media, but we would have been reading it 48 hours later, which means this would have been going on even longer. So be thankful that all this happened online, because it may come to a quicker resolution. But that kicked it off, and what was the response? So Elon responds, we'll do the back and forth. To that statement, Elon says false. This bill was never shown to me even once, and was passed in the dead of night so fast almost nobody in Congress could even read it. All right, he goes on to say. And then, I think he was really worked up and hurt by this. And that's a key important part of the story, because Elon, let's not forget, for his side of things, put all of his companies, his personal wealth, his personal safety, all at risk for this. And he saw it as a slap in the face to only work into this big, beautiful, bloated budget bill $9 billion when he found with Doge $200 billion. So a personal insult. And then Trump says that. Elon goes on to say, again, this is the order of things and how it all broke down to the girly fight online. Remember this? At Real Donald Trump? And this is from March, when they were together at the Teslas outside and Trump gave him one, and Trump was praising Elon up and down. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Pennsylvania mark got a little bit testy as well, because Pennsylvania became a big fight. It's where Elon had those rallies, and he did that. And he spent a lot of, by the way, Elon was the biggest single donor to the Trump campaign in 24. Remember that too. He went on to say, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House. Republicans would be leading in the Senate. And then he goes on again and looks at the Trump history. Where is the man who wrote these words? Was he replaced by a body double? And this is the part in the past of Trump talking about, cutting the deficit, cutting spending, cutting the bloat, and all that other stuff. And then it was starting to get real bad. You remember this in the timeline. Before it will get good. At the end of this, all of this is going to be good. That's my promise to you. Trump fires back at Elon. The online battle begins. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate and forced everybody to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted for months. I was going, and he just went crazy. Elon took this very personally. Such an obvious lie. So sad. And then, mid-afternoon, and if you were getting alerts on this, paying attention to it, you saw it in real time. Or if you caught up later because you have a real life, you caught up to it later and you said, what the hell is going on? Elon posts on X, and he has the biggest X account, by the way, in a couple of 100 million. Time to drop the really big bomb. At Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And goes on to say, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Well, now you got something else on your hands. Now it is stupid, and I agree with you there. This is tit for tat. This is stupid. This is personal insults, but not uncommon in American history. I get it. It's concerning because this is the most powerful guy in the world versus now, in a personal fight, the most powerful, the richest guy in the world in that fight happening. So it's at this point, it's not good. In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately, because Trump on Truth Social had talked about SpaceX. You start to threaten SpaceX, which beyond all of the other companies, this is Elon's pride and joy. His mission in life is to get us to Mars. So that's what escalated it there. But then the day goes on and the sun breaks through the horizon on social media and with these two, and they start to see common sense. Something amazing started to happen. An account, again on X, and this is why in the current day and age where everybody has a platform. In fact, Elon said it himself. You're the media now. An account with under 200 followers, probably a hell of a lot more than that right now. Some account called Alaska. I don't know either. Happened to say something responding to Trump and Elon. And this person, whoever runs Alaska online, said, this is a shame, this back and forth. You are both better than this. Cool off and take a step back for a couple of days. Sounds like something a smart mom would say, right? Elon responds, good advice. Could it be that somebody with an account under 200 followers brokered peace between Elon and Trump? I don't know, possibly. But then somebody who has a lot of influence got involved and jumped on top of this as well. Bill Ackman, you know him, the investor, who is, again, another former Democrat from the big tech world who brought these two together, reportedly, and who had a lot of influence and a lot of say in this election result, where he said, I support Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they should both make peace for the benefit of our great country. We're much stronger together than apart. And once again, Elon responds and says, you're not wrong. And as we stand right now at the live stream, sorry if you're listening or watching this later, 8:11 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday the 6th, reportedly, just breaking down the past hour, reportedly, we'll see if it actually happens, there's a reported meeting, a come-to-Jesus meeting between Trump and Elon today, possibly at the White House, or maybe even over the phone. Who the heck knows? This is how things work out. And for everybody in a panic and got their panties in a wad yesterday, this is no uncommon thing in American history. In fact, if you want to go back to history, something was made aware to me yesterday was incredible. There's a great follow on X, speaking of that. His name is Robbie Starbuck. Now, he's interesting, and I always like to follow the people that were former Democrats and really was inside that world, but they switched, or the opposite way. I like to get their perspective because they see both sides. Republicans, conservatives that went the other way, whatever. Because if they've seen a lot, I think we can learn a lot from them. Robbie Starbuck is a good follow on X, by the way. And he pointed out something amazing. And I remember hearing this years ago. Must have been a history class, or I'm a big fan of American history, especially the American Revolution and the colonies and everything else. He pointed out something incredible, and I go to that right now. For people who think that disputes don't get nearly as personal between the founding fathers, here's something else. This is Thomas Jefferson versus John Adams. After the American Revolution, this is when we're trying to figure out how the country's going to work. Listen to this. Can you imagine if they had X at the time? If they had, and Truth Social and X fighting back and forth back in the day? They would have. Jefferson's surrogates said Adams had a, here's the quote, hideous hermaphroditological character, which is neither the force and firmness of a man nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman. Well, that's a hell of a lot last year than what we said yesterday. Adams, for his part, called Jefferson a lowlife, mean-spirited and stupid. And his surrogate said electing Jefferson would lead to murder, robbery, rape, adultery, and incest. I think it worked out okay, didn't it? So I went back and I saw this and I said, that's right. I remember that. So I did some research and went back to some historians that I like to follow. And even you could do a quick grok or even a Google research to find out if this is true back in American history, how long this has been going on. And before in the introduction, I mentioned Abraham Lincoln and his team of rivals who didn't get along at all. Maybe didn't hurl these kinds of personal insults, but they didn't get along at all. But again, the common denominator was they had the personal best interest for our nation in mind. And that's why this works out. And sure enough, it turns out to be true. This is just grok, but you can find it anywhere. I just grabbed this for quick reference. The tension between Adams and Jefferson was real and multifaceted, driven by political rivalry, ideological clashes, and personal betrayals. Yet, their ability to reconcile through thoughtful correspondence highlights, this is found in their letters, the mutual respect and shared commitment to the nation they helped found. What sounds familiar in that? All of it sounds familiar. Not only is this going to work out, it's going to be fine. Not only that, let me tell you what else. Throughout this entire process, and I'm with you, I was getting sick of talking about the big, beautiful budget bill. Usually any other year, there's nothing more boring to talk about in any kind of a broadcast setting than a budget bill. It's just not. This got a little more interesting. I get it, but I was sick of it too. Here was my concern. I don't think I said this in the podcast. My concern was this. Honestly, my hand to God, this is my concern. I was worried that if this thing passed through, and it will eventually, without Elon putting up any kind of a fight, that's what was going to worry me, honestly. I think not only is this fight expected, I've said it 3-4 times already today. It's good. You need this. You need the back and forth. You need pushback as long as one factor is involved, and it is in this case. They both want the same thing. the best for the American people. And that's why this is going to work out. That's exactly why. It's the same through. It's a tale as old as time. People fighting back and forth. They don't have to be besties. They don't have to send each other Christmas cards. Who the hell cares about that? But they will work together in the future. And again, I think it's going to happen. This bill is going to pass in one form or another. They'll add more cuts to it. Let's keep something in mind here. This thing isn't even close to being done yet. The Senate hasn't even gotten their hands on it. But believe me, they all want to get reelected. They know who their bases are now. This was no joke. We did vote for this kind of stuff. Fiscal conservatism, the majority of people did. They heard it loud and clear. Trump did, I know for a fact. And I'll even be willing to bet the usually selfish, weak, lame-ass Republicans, the rhinos in Congress, heard it as well. They usually fall back on their promise, and they fail to get spending cuts done in the future. It's always a promise. Yeah, we'll continue cutting. This time they might. But what I know is this supposed beef, maybe they're not going to be besties. I don't need them to be besties. But this is going to work out. It's good. Take that to heart. Take that to heart because they have the best interest in mind. Good. Stop wringing your hands over this thing. My God. That's why I'm so worked out. I haven't dropped an F-bomb yet, but I'm close. The crying back and forth about this. Are we so wimpy? Are we so wimpy that we can't look at a fight like this and see it as a good thing? Good God. All right, one thing. I got to get out of this. Before we go into the weekend, let's do one thing. Here's what else happened. One of my favorite things in life to do is make fun of these clueless celebrities. And here's another thing you should feel good about. Clueless George Clooney. Did you hear about or see the clips? You probably didn't watch it. The CNN interview with Anderson Cooper. George Clooney talking about politics again. And you may hear this and you may go, oh, God, they're doing the same thing. And a lot of people listen to George Clooney, and he's very influential. This is why the Democrats put him out of Hollywood to get their talking points. True, that's true, but it's good that he's talking. And I'll tell you why. He still doesn't get it. And by he, I also mean them. If he's saying this kind of thing, which is a talking point completely rubber-stamped and greenlit by the political party that he favors, remember him rolling out Joe Biden on the stage? Remember that one? And he told everybody that, well, I can't vote for him anymore. And the Democrats were mad at him, and then George Clooney's trying to get in good with the party again. This is what he said to Anderson Cooper in this interview. Just listen to this one clip, and you tell me that they understand what's going on now, and they have a plan for the future. Guys, I wouldn't worry about it.
But he's also a celebrity, and he is charming, and to the people who like him, they think he's funny. To a great many others, they don't. And so when he is finished, and he will be finished, they're going to have to go looking for someone who can deliver the message that he delivered with the same kind of charisma, and they don't have that.
That's how he sees it. He still doesn't get it. And he's just representative of, like, everybody over there. I just called him out 2 minutes ago. There's a lot of lazy, stupid Republicans that don't get it. But it may be all of the lazy, stupid Democrats that don't get it. They still don't understand. They still don't get what this was all about. George Clooney, because he's used to personalities and stardom, he thinks Trump was elected just on personality and not policy. As long as they keep believing that, you should be saying, don't get outraged by it. You should be saying to yourself, good, because they don't have a clue who did this. Going back to the Elon Trump fight about who elected who got who elected, it was us. It was regular people who wanted a change. Trump is a correction to the mismanagement and the corruption and the lies and the laziness and this uniparty before. If it wasn't him, in society, we would have found somebody else. Now, he's a unicorn. Only he could have fought through this and got this done. But Trump's a correction. Regular, working class, everyday Americans who had been forgotten in this political system, they elected him. That's what we need to remind these people of. And it sounds like George Clooney and that whole group, they don't get it at all. And you should take that as good news because they don't have a plan for the future. None whatsoever. All right, the takeaway here, I'm telling you, I promise you, this is good. By the time you're listening to this on the audio podcast, which will be posted shortly, they may have had the Come to Jesus meeting again already. I don't know. I don't expect them to be best buddies, going camping together, sending Christmas cards, but you don't need that. It's going to work out. It's going to be good. The fight is good because they both want the same thing. the best for the American people. And that's why this is going to work out. But stop the hand-wringing over this. Oh, my God. More importantly, have an awesome weekend. Not only that, a wicked awesome weekend. Who knows? Call me out on Monday if I'm completely wrong on this. Who the heck knows? But I don't think I am. So we'll find out. With all that said, it's okay. Stay strong. We'll talk to you on Monday.